Hi, welcome to XR for Designer. Today we're going to continue the next episode of prototyping in Maquette. We're going to cover basic prototype workflows to speed you up in terms of designing and prototyping. After today's tutorial, you will learn how to work with references and components, and you will learn how to create your design as pictures or videos, capture it, and share it. So we have 4 topics today. What is workflow? Design with reference, copy paste, reuse your component, and capture a design. Let's talk about the first one. What is workflow? In Maquette, you have 3 workflows that you should be thinking of all the time. The first one is creating 3D objects, second is editing, and third is external assets. Each one contains different tools that you should use all the time. By learning these workflows, you will design faster and think faster. The first one in creating common 3D objects is creating 3D UI. In 3D UI, most of the time it's a combination of 3D object, icons, text, and images. You can see this 3D icon. In the 3D object, you can have this actual object change on scale in different axes. By putting them together, you will have interesting UIs like this. It's actually not hard to do, so let's recreate this sample UI component from the maquette highlight. To create rounded cornered panels, what you have to do is to create a capsule, flatten it, and duplicate it on the x-axis to make it longer. So you have like a long capsule rounded corner button. To rotate, you can snap it on the surface and rotate it to 45 degrees, so it's precisely only rotating on one axis. You can also do it by using the gizmo. We'll talk about it later. Now you have to add these small little buttons, so you create them and snap it onto the capsule that we just created. The snap function is by selecting the object and then press the B button when it's getting close to a surface. The N icon, we're using a primitive called the see-through or the verse sphere, so you can see from outside in to the other side. The little pillar shape is extruded from a simple cylinder. So by doing that, you create the 3D mesh foundation for the 3D UI. Now what you have to do is find the icons. You can find them in the maquette assets. This is the zoom in, zoom out icon, and then you can go ahead and find the close icon. Now what we have to do is to get the color. As you can see right now, I accidentally dropped the white color from the icon, so we want to drop the gray color from the button. You can use the tooltip on your right hand to fast switch between tools. Now you choose the text tool, write down what you have to write down the OneNote, put it as a center, change the color to white, and move it to the place you want it to be. As you can see, we're using snap feature again. So just like that, you create a simple 3D UI with 3D object, icon, text, and images. By doing that, you can create more complex, simple 3D UI scenes. For example, in this one, you can create books that represent a notebook title. You can rearrange them you can create little 3D icons, and that is basically just a 3D shape with a 2D icon. And then this one, it's a simple combination of an image texture that gives it a simple feeling of space. Then you can have vertical panels that looks more like traditional UI but with depth. So you can have the text closer to you or farther away from you. Combining these three, you'll have a very interesting UI layouts, creating new 3D objects or things that you never thought would be possible. With this, you need to get familiar with 4 things: primitives, maquette library, snippets, and poly. Primitives are the cubes from the assets panel. Those are simple geometries that you can use as the foundation of whatever you're doing. All the simple UIs are composed with those simple primitives. So for example, the sword shape here is actually very simple to make. So you grab this pentagon shape, and then you stretch it and you flatten it. There you go. The second one is maquette library. So these are imported, pre-built simple shapes that helps you to express more complex things. They're not composed by multiple objects, so they're just one thing. So for example, this little human here is the person symbol. And now you have the snippets. Snippets are put together primitives that maquette team put there to help you just build your scene faster. For example, you have avatars. These avatars are purely made of the primitives that you see in the first section. So just spheres, capsules. You can ungroup them. So if you ungroup this avatar, you can just use a proportion of this model. Then you have Google Poly, which is an online service for a 3D model. You can just search whatever you want and you'll get it. You can toggle it to editable or not, so you can change the color. The model you get from Poly is also editable in terms of scale, so you can scale it on different axes if you want. So in this example, we're trying to build this scene where a viewer is watching a spacecraft and a little aliens flying. You often runs into a situation where you have to create your own assets rather than downloading something. So this is a very quick and easy way to create your own 3D assets. So first of all, we're going to create the plane. We go to the complex primitive tab. Let's get the color first. Select this one, rotate it, and then just flatten it. So you have a very interesting ground plane to work with, and you duplicate it to create the silhouette and the shadows. Make it bigger and smaller. There you go. You have the basic plane. Right now I'm looking for the dotted grid background that I saved from another project. Yes, there you go. And now we're looking to build the platform. Yes, we found this little platform shape. We change the color of it, make it smaller, and put it in the center of the plane. Just flatten it a little bit. For the ring, it's even simpler. So we go for the ring shape. We're looking for the diamond. It's a little bit hard to find. Yes, it's this one. So you grab that, stretch it on the z-axis, duplicate it. Then the last step is the ring. So you just get the ring, color it to blue, and flatten it. As you can see, I made a mistake. I put the ring inside the platform, which makes it really hard to select. So what you want to do is just snap it on the surface, and that's it. I want to make the color precise, so just grab that and recolor it. This one is actually a pre-built snippets that Maquette made for us. It's called the spacecraft. You can just get it out from your assets folder and you can start using it. But this whole spaceship is composed with those simple primitives, so you can ungroup them, ungroup them to even more detailed level. You will start to see how they're put together. So, for example, in this one, we see those capsules, right? And we see those capsules flattened. This is a very common pattern for composing stuff in Maquette. And for the body of the spaceship, it's just a sphere stretched. Moving on, for those more complex shapes, we have assets that allows you to put those things in. So we'll go to assets, go to Maquette library, go to let's first pick the controller. So we have Oculus controller here. We don't even need the right controller. Then we put the hands on it. There you go. Then I'm looking for the head. Should be in the more shapes. And then head. Yes. This is a pretty useful model because sometimes you want to give a reference of how big is the viewer, how big is your scene. Next, we put this goggle on top of it. We use the thumbsticks to scale it to the size that we want. And finally, just put all of your assets together to compose your scene. And now you have a unique scene rather than just downloaded assets made purely in Maquette. So let's grab the foundation, grab these. Oops. Move them here. Grab the spaceship. There's a little line, dotted line. We'll do it later, but let's search for the alien. Dancing alien robot. It's that DJ alien. Now we can take a look at the lines. So lines, what you want to do is you want to draw straight lines that is unlit, so the color matches the color palette. You just draw the line, get closer, select it, and then scale it in terms of width. There you go. You create your own 3D custom scene. So the scaling in Maquette has three main methods. You have the left and right hand scaling, you have the joystick scaling, and you have the gizmo scaling. Right plus left hand is the most common one. So when you grab an object, you will see dots appearing on different side. Majorly the 3-axis. From the 3-axis, and you can snap your left hand to have that cursor snapped to that dot, and just by holding the grip, you will be able to resize it, scale it. The joysticks is another quicker way. So this is for universal axis scaling. So pushing your joysticks left and right, you'll scale this box universally. And you have gizmo. Let's change the color a bit to differentiate. Oop, I accidentally get the property panel. So gizmo, when you hover your select cursor to an object, there is a move kind of icon. With this, you will open the gizmo for this object. The round dot represents scaling on different axes. This yellow one means scale in all axes, and the arrow means move. And this curved line means rotate on certain axes. Something also interesting to do is to manipulate and duplicate the same object, but in different scale and angle, really fast. This is a really cool tool that they recently introduced. Let's talk about coloring. You should learn about 2 tools that enables you to do coloring. You have eyedropper and color palette. Eyedropper allows you to pick color from other objects. So using this, you can select and pick the color that the eyedropper is pointing to. So for example, in this one, we're pointing to the blue. We can now get closer and start recoloring this ring. The color tool, the cursor has a size as well. So if you get it bigger, you can color a bigger area faster. So if you want to get it smaller, you can color small objects. And then you can save your color that you put together on your color palette so you can use it later. And you have precise hex value control. Grouping is a very important concept in 3D design. You can group by going to the select menu, select 2 or multiple objects. You can select by tapping your trigger on each item, or hold your trigger and hover it through the area that you want to select. So in this case, I just scaled, and then you will see this whole object follows with me. You can, I just grouped. You can also ungroup, so now they're separated. So let's group them. The next thing we want to do is to learn the nesting. So let's build a little human avatar here. Creating the arm, creating a little leg. Group the arm, group the leg. Oh, you know what? Let's make a little foot pad. Let's make the left and right arm. This is the left and right leg. We need to ungroup and adjust the joints. Now, let's group the torso, the legs, and the arms. Now you have a little human avatar that you can move around. But you can also ungroup it and change the posture of the little human. Now you understand the nesting. So nesting means groups within groups. Now you want to ungroup those legs to make adjustment to the leg torso. Now you group individual leg, group the whole avatar, and you can move that avatar around. The next state will be preserved when you export your assets to any 3D software. External assets, there's several places you can go for. The first one is Google Poly. So this is a free website for you to find more simple shapes in 3D forms that Google created by a software called Google Blocks. You can download GLTF, OPGL, USTC. So in this case, you just download this GLTF. Unzip your assets to a folder and move it to the maquette 3D object folder. Maquette is in your documents, and just find the objects and paste. Now, if you go back to maquette, and go to your asset panel, you can find the folder and you can drag this thing in. You will see now there's no texture and color because you select the editable. If you just don't toggle that on, you will see the colors and the vertex color preserved. What are other options for assets? You also can go to Sketchfab, which is another big 3D model online platform. In the search, toggle downloadable, and then search whatever you want. You choose categories. So in this case, we just search for cars, and you can see these are all the car models that you can download to use in your scene. So you can just click download 3D model. I'm not logged in, but if you're logged in, you can pick the original file format or the GLTF, which is easy to use in maquette. You can also create your own 3D assets with Oculus Medium if you're on the Oculus platform. This tool allows you to sculpt and paint 3D models. You can also use the blocks. Blocks allow you to create low poly 3D assets like these. It gives you control to individual surfaces, edges, and vertex. You can also use Tilt Brush to have a more expressive 3D assets that are drawn, and Quill allows you to create animated FBX files. Let's talk about design with reference. Oftentimes, when you're designing a maquette, it's hard to just think about what you're designing. When you have a reference, it's easier to put things together and make it closer to the final product. So in this case, we are looking to build something like this. We want to save image to your reference folder and later on bring it back into maquette so you can reference that. You want to save it into the maquette root folder, find the images, and create a new folder called reference and save it. And also you have this ergonomic pictures that I want to use. We're saving it in the same folder. Now, when we're in maquette, we'll go to these folders. get the image out so you can use them as reference. This is a common way for designing in 3D. And I just realized Maquette does not support GIF. I created a screenshot and put it back into Maquette. Yes. So these are your reference images. I'll scrub through the image, but you will understand how important it is to design with reference. So in this case, I'm just creating avatars based on the ergonomic graph. So you will understand the arm reach, the optimal viewing angles and stuff. So it helps you to easier position your content. Putting a hand in. Creating a screen. Now, if you get rid of the reference image and put a viewport at this head's place, you'll feel it's really close to how it feels like to sit in the car and watch a display in front of you. If we want to recreate this, we can just follow the image, create some floors, put in a desk. You can see the full process on the tutorial presentation with the YouTube video. But I found the table is not the exact one, so I don't want to have those stands. I want to have like a big cube stand. So it's simple. You just delete that. Create your own stand that looks alike the reference image. Create this section. Put in those stools. It's getting closer and closer. Then you can put your interface in it, right? So just by few steps, you'll create this scene based on reference. Next, let's talk about copy, paste, and reuse your component. So in this so talking about reusing assets, we have 4 things we can do. We have quick duplicate, which is by dragging the object and use the trigger to stamp. So use the grip to hold it, and then press the trigger to stamp. In this way, you can quickly duplicate a lot of the assets that you're selecting. This is the most common way to reuse assets. You can group them and then do things like this. Next, you have copy tool or clone tool. So by selecting clone tool, you use your trigger to copy stuff, and this trigger has a cursor radius, so you can increase the radius to select more stuff and copy more stuff at the same time. This tool is very you can use it when you have when you're continuously doing copy and paste. You also have a clipboard, so when you're using the clone tool, you can use the trigger to grab it and put it into your clipboard, so you can use it across scene or even across project. So you can see I have two scenes, scene 1 and scene 2. In scene 2, I can still go to my clipboard and grab the assets out. This is a huge game changer in terms of fast prototyping. Before Maquette, there's no VR prototyping app that allows you to reuse your assets like this. So this is a clipboard. And then you can also save your snippet to library as a permanent thing asset. So I'm going to save it to the snippet. You'll see I have this circle. So essentially you're saving a maquette project, but you will have it everywhere. So even when you close the project, you create a new project, you will have this. And the final step is capture design. There's several ways to capture. You have camera that is built into Maquette, the camera tool, and the OBS Studio. So camera tool gives you a stapled hand holding camera for you to hold and capture a scene. And you can use your joysticks to change the field of view. If this is a simplified concept in terms of field of view. So if you push the field of view all the way to 110, it means you have a very dramatic perspective. You can press trigger to take a picture, and you can see the preview right in the app. You can open the folder or you can delete it. You can also record videos. You can move some part of the scene when you are recording videos. And you can see the video preview right after you record it. After that, you have the first-person camera, which allows you to capture all of your UIs and exactly what you're looking at in the app. These are the two types of cameras that is built in. You also have this OBS Studio option, which allows you to capture sound and your other video or audio input. And this is how I record all my tutorials. So to recap what we learned today, what is workflow, how to build simple 3D buttons, how to build simple 3D objects, how to design with reference, how to pull your picture in, design with them, how to copy paste and reuse your component, how to put it in a clipboard, how to use it across project, across scenes, and finally how to capture a design, use the built-in camera system or the OBS. Thank you for viewing. This is a long episode, but you can find all the videos and materials from this link.